All right, let's kick it off. Um, we're gonna start with the same shit we always start with. Well, no, we didn't always start with this, but I mean, what else can you start with? This is stupid fucking virus. Um, so within the last week, the Wisconsin Supreme Court decided that they were going to tell the governor, "You can't do that. You can't shut down the state. Fuck off. We're gonna let everything just go nuts." So my instant reaction to that was, here we go again. Look, it's not that complicated, and I can't believe that a Supreme Court justice doesn't understand these simple things. If I do something that affects me, I do something that affects what happens to me physically, mentally, health wise, whatever, then I should have all the power to do that. If I do something irresponsible that affects somebody else, then I shouldn't have that power, which is why we have things like drunk driving laws, which is why we have things like seatbelt laws, so that our children aren't susceptible to our idiotic mistakes.
You can't
This
use
act,
seatbelt law. No. You can't use the seatbelt law.
yes, I can. I
Only when it
absolutely
applies.
can.
Only when it applies to children.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, asshole. What if I was talking about just me, then you're right. But I'm not talking about just me. I'm talking about if I have my infant child or a 2-year-old child in the car and I'm a stupid asshole that just opposes seatbelts and doesn't put my kid in a seatbelt. So I'm affecting their probability to survive a crash, therefore affecting their probability to live. So that's why these laws come into effect. And this asshole decides that, well, that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. Wait, so we're just going to open things up because you don't understand that people's actions or inactions can affect other people to the point where they die. That's unconstitutional. That's why we make laws, you stupid fuckhead. Do you, for as smart as you are, you made it to the goddamn Wisconsin Supreme Court. You're a fucking asshole if you can't understand that. And you can cite all these laws and precedents and all of this bullshit. Frankly, I don't give a fuck because it makes no fucking sense. Because if somebody else's actions affect people that cannot control those actions or the effect of those actions, then how the fuck is that infringing upon their rights? It's infringing upon the other people's rights. It's some asshole going rogue and not giving a fuck. It makes no fucking sense. Your thoughts?
No, I mean I completely agree. I'll tell you, like, for example, like I know in Virginia, um, people were saying, "Oh, it's unconstitutional." Like the governor doesn't have the right. And number one of the things Virginia declared early on was a state of emergency. So the states that are saying that it's unconstitutional, da da da, well, right in the state constitution for Virginia, it clearly states that under a state of emergency, the governor has the right to create orders for public safety.
Of course they do. That's why that's fucking bullshit. It's some asshole trying to fucking get Trump's dick in his mouth or get Trump's ear so that Trump loves him and he can become maybe something else. He's like massaging Trump's balls, swinging from his fucking orange nuts, just like, wee, let's go. Yes, take me in, grand leader. You're a fucking asshole. Fuck you, the fucking dickhead judge from Wisconsin. It makes no fucking sense.
No, and the worst part is so this weekend Virginia just opened up. So we just opened up the state for phase one. Uh, so I went out to get some food this weekend, one of the things I saw was like part one of our phase one is patios are allowed to be open with 50% capacity, 6 foot distancing, and I'm riding by these like bars and restaurants that are packed, fucking packed. Patios full. No one's like observing social distancing guidelines, you know. Um, and I'm watching I've seen some things on like Facebook afterwards where people were bitching about it. But then I saw like there was a video. There was a police officer sitting in the parking lot of one of these like establishments, and they were watching the establishment, kind of like I guess to observe what was going on and if they were like abiding by the governor's order. And these fucking idiots are screaming and cussing at the police officer because he's standing out there in the parking lot just watching.
Yeah, that's fucking bananas. As a matter of fact, I think I heard or read something about some assholes in Florida like flexing, taking pictures of them all in a bar, none of them social distancing. And I'm gonna tell you this right now: I want every single one of those motherfuckers to get the virus. I don't give a fuck if that's wrong. I, uh, maybe I don't want them to die. Maybe that's a little extreme, but I want every one of those cocksuckers to get the virus. Every single one. I want them all to be coughing and gagging and fucking just shooting fucking phlegm shots out of their mouth when like fuck those guys. Like there's there's
And
so
my
many
thing
people.
is,
Yeah,
there's
go
a
ahead.
thing. There's a thing called being socially responsible, and it's not about you getting it. That's the thing that people don't understand. It's not about you getting it.
Exactly.
It's not about like you being healthy or whatever, because the common argument is, well, if you have compromised health or whatever, stay at home. Okay, so the person that's compromised health stays home, but now you're out dicking around and doing whatever, and this person now has to go to the store to get essential things. They need to get groceries or whatever. But you've been out dicking around spreading the virus, and now they go to the grocery store and they contract the virus from you because you haven't been doing what you need to do.
Because you're a fucking asshole. That's why. You're a fucking asshole. Go fucking sit on a big, huge spiked fucking bat, you cocksucker. Fuck you. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, I mean, look out for other people. Stop being a selfish fucking prick.
So, some of the other things that I was thinking about this, with all the stay at homes and all of that stuff, traffic has been fucking a breeze. Like, people, when they do have to go out, they're starting to get used to just whipping through, just flying through. How are people going to cope with that once things go back to normal? Like, I think people are going to have like this adjustment period where a few wrists get slit, maybe like a couple of people get shot during road rage incidents, because for the past couple of months traffic's been fucking awesome. So what happens when things go back to normal?
Yeah, I mean, I think social norms are not as normal as they once were. I mean, I know, like, I used to never have anxiety when I went to the grocery store. Like, I'd walk Walmart, whatever. I'd just browse. And now, like, when I go to Walmart, my goal is to get in and get out as quickly as possible. Like, I start to fucking sweat because I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't want to be here. There's so many rules and so many guidelines and so much shit to worry about. Like, did they touch this? Who touched this? Just
Yeah,
want to get
but
the fuck.
everybody's dealing with that in the moment. I'm just talking about when shit gets like kind of back to somewhat normal. Like, I mean, there's so many aspects to this thing. Like, I passed by a couple of stores on Mother's Day, and just watching the lines, I was laughing to myself because the lines were like around the block for people just waiting to get in to buy something at Target or Walmart or whatever. And
The
it's
one,
like,
the one dude that waited to the last minute, who's
no,
now is he dealing with like having to worry about getting in, but all the shortages and shit as well.
dude, it wasn't just one dude, it was many dudes and many women. Trust me. Um, but yeah, so getting back to the topic, like, um, just getting back to normal. People are used to these traffic lanes just being like nothing, and all of a sudden it's going to be like this. I mean, it's been 2 months. It's going to be like this shock. Like all of a sudden, like, fuck, I'm back in track. I guarantee you there's going to be way more road rage incidents than there have been in quite a while because people just aren't used to that anymore. And I don't know. I just feel like, you know, how domestic violence and stuff went up with people being at home. I think there's going to be some incidents with people being allowed to go out again.
Well, and I think also you got to think. I think it's going to be worse. I think transit's going to be worse because a lot of people in the beginning are going to avoid mass transit. No one wants to ride the T. No one
Well,
wants to get on the bus.
well, true, but I think that this is forcing people to open their minds and come up with new shit. Like I heard that when stadiums are allowed to open back up, they're talking about like flying drones around, spraying the whole stadium, like all the seats and everything, so that they can do that in like a couple of hours versus, you know, how long it would take for employees to wipe everything down. So it's going to create some innovation, that's for sure. Um, so I guess that's a good thing. But one of the other things I was thinking about was, you know, there was the shortage on toilet paper for a while. Obviously, a shortage on disinfectants and um, wipes, and you know, the disinfectant wipes, and even alcohol and shit like that. Like people trying to make their own sanitizer. So my question is, what shortages would have really made people flip out? And my guess, if if speaking from personal experience, if there was a shortage of beer, I think I might have been shitting my pants a little bit. Now, you can expand that and say wine or spirits in general, beer, wine, spirits, whatever. I think that would be huge. I think if there was a shortage of booze, motherfuckers would be losing their minds. I mean, think about it. Like, what else? What could possibly make people really like just go nuts?
Shortage of meat.
Yeah, but even that started, and people haven't gone nuts. I honestly think if there was a shortage of booze, people would lose their fucking minds. Like if they shut down all the liquor stores, all the liquor producing plants, all of that shit.
Well, I'm pretty sure because 90% of fucking people's quarantine plan is just to get drunk and deal with it
Well,
that way.
if you have some little assholes running around screaming their fucking lungs out all day, and you know, like there's no way you can't send them to play outside and whatever. Of course. I mean, unless you have a big yard and you got it like that, fine. But for the rest of the people living in little apartments and shit like that, where nowhere to send them, you bet your ass they're fucking just gunning down shots and chugging beers and saying, God help me get this fucking thing over. Have you heard some of these little motherfuckers, the way they scream? And oh God damn it, I'd be comatose. I drink a fucking 30 rack a day. Are you kidding me? I don't know.
Well, I think parents are definitely learning that their kid is not as much of a joy to have in class as teachers have been telling them for all these years. You know,
Well, I don't know. I was just trying to figure out like what shortages would make people shit their pants. Like, and mind you, a lot of people, and I just thought of this. A lot of people are used to instant type shit these days. A lot of motherfuckers don't know how to cook. A lot of these asshole parents can't make their kid a proper meal if you paid them. So they're giving them like those little cups of mac and cheese and stuff like that. What the fuck would happen if all of a sudden the little Paw Patrol mac and cheese wasn't available? Or if McDonald's was closed down and they couldn't buy them a little Happy Meal? what the fuck would happen then? What would they be feeding their kids? What if there was a shortage of Paw Patrol mac and cheese? We'd have little motherfuckers just like, I'm so hungry, like just like fucking zombies walking around, like help me, because all these assholes don't know how to cook anymore. Anyways, um, so I guess if we're being honest with each other, if we're being honest with the world, if the government was to be honest with the world, we're at the point where, and you see it every day, you see it, the struggle between states and the federal government, people who feel that there's some level of responsibility on handling things and taking care of people's health and whatnot. The government has essentially said, we're okay with people dying. Open the fuck up. We, and I said this was coming, we care more about the economy than we do people's lives. And I understand it's not a, you can't use the blueprint for the whole country. And there are instances where you can, you know, open up a little bit, maybe a little bit more than other places, depending on, your numbers, depending on the risks, etc. But our president is basically, because he's so fearful of the economy tanking his reelection bid, that he's just like, you know what, fuck it, I don't even care anymore. Open the fuck up. People are gonna die. I don't give a fuck. And by the way, just I just gotta throw this in there. What a hardo move going to these places wearing no mask when everyone else is wearing masks. So the chances of you catching it are minuscule because everyone else is wearing masks. So you can sit up there and act like a fucking hardo, like, oh, I'm too tough for this disease. I'm fucking Mr. Big Balls, big orange balls. But like, there's very little chance of you catching it because everyone else is wearing fucking masks. So, but whatever. That's a side thing. I'm going off track. Um, I guess the point is this son of a bitch is basically every chance he gets, open up, open up, open up, like he's telling Pennsylvania, open up, open up, open up, because he wants the economy back, because he's more concerned with getting reelected than he is with people's lives. And I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand we have to open up at some point, and I understand it can't take forever. But again, it should be measured. It should be where it's acceptable, where the numbers say you can do this in the face. They made the fucking rules for opening up, and nobody's following them. The states are just like, oh well, fuck it. These are the rules that the government suggested, the federal government suggested, but fuck it, we'll just do it our way, like Florida and like Georgia and like Texas, wherever else. So my take is the government is cool with your grandmother, with your aunt, with your grandfather, father, whatever, catching it and dying, as long as the economy gets back on track, as long as there's a chance for reelection, as long as um, their pockets are lined.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, like one of the things I've noticed, like even here with our like reopening, what frustrates me is like some of this shit doesn't make sense. Like their phase one plan, and I'll give an example. So Virginia's phase one plan, like churches are allowed, to have 50% capacity indoors, but restaurants aren't allowed to have 50% capacity. And the whole reason for this is based on the Wuhan restaurant like scenario. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. Have you heard about that?
Nope.
All right. So basically, what happened was there was one guy that went to a restaurant in Wuhan, and from that one guy, like 9 people were like got the coronavirus, and they tracked it back, and they did the. There was 3 tables that ended up getting infected. But the truth is that one guy only infected 2 people. He
Truth is,
infected two.
according to who though? Because
Well,
if you believe any information coming out of Wuhan, you're a fucking retard.
no. So what they did was they went back and looked at the dates that people started looking like getting
No,
sick.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying any data coming out of China is
Yeah, but it's not from China. It was these are actual based on this like scenario. So what they did was they had the one guy that got sick. He goes to a restaurant. He spreads the virus to one guy at one table and one guy at another table. Now these people are carriers. Now they're infecting people at their tables, but the initial guy didn't infect all 9 people. He only infected 2 people. So like they based the whole restaurants reopening on this whole concept of like, oh well, you know
all right.
we can have this.
I'll counter your example. In Massachusetts, there was a conference way back in the beginning where all these people went to this conference and they all got it. And it was like huge. It like spiked up the numbers in the beginning, big time. It was like a conference at like a hotel or some shit like that. And my thought was, this wasn't from people talking to each other because I can't give you the numbers and I wish I could. This wasn't from people talking to each other. This was from somebody who had it, who either coughed or sneezed into the food. Because at these conferences, they always serve like finger foods and things like that, or little snacks or cookies or whatever. Whether it be a server, whether it be some asshole at the conference, one person contaminated that batch that everybody ate, and that's what caused all of them to get sick.
Well, I mean, that's a really good possibility. The other thing is at a conference, people are shaking hands.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's a business conference and
but not
people shake
shaking
hands.
hands with everybody.
But if you're shaking, that's what you do at conferences. So you
You
do at a
don't
business
shake
conference.
everybody's hand. I've been to
No, but
conferences.
I'm saying you're meeting new people, you're shaking hands, so it goes on and you're passing it on. I think the food scenario is definitely plausible.
I think
It's
it's more
tempting.
probable than plausible.
Yeah,
So
I mean, if
I think that's why they're more stringent on the food industry.
but they're allowing restaurants that to serve food outdoors.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is you don't go to church looking for a meal. I
I
mean,
get I get that, but like if you go to Catholic mass,
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Unless the priest has it, then everybody's fucked.
I mean my thoughts on that though are why is that logical? Why is a church more logical than a restaurant or a bar? And I get like they're getting pressure from people because they feel like they're taking away their ability to practice faith, but a church building
Well,
is a
that's
church.
bullshit. I mean, you can practice faith in your own home.
Yeah,
Um, uh,
or
what
outdoors.
what it really is the church's. If we're being honest, it's the church's ability to collect money.
Yeah.
I I I can't. That's what it is. You're fucking with the church's money at this point, so the churches are putting pressure on their local, constituents. Anyways,
which which a lot of candidates get money from churches.
of course,
It's and it's just like in Virginia. One of the reasons that I believe that restaurants with outdoor facilities were allowed to open first with 50% capacity was because the Virginia Beach contingent. Like,
Yeah, probably. I mean, that makes sense. They make a lot of money for the state, so it makes sense. Um, but whatever. I mean, the bottom line is the government has made a deal with the devil, and they're cool with it. The federal government, at least, and they're starting to drip down to a lot of states, and the local government is going to be cool with it. And I said this was going to happen from the start. All right, well, we're gonna have people die. There's nothing we can do at this point. We're gonna just have to let them die, so that you know our lives are okay and our lives aren't impacted that much. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, it is what it is, you know. Um, but speaking of that, like the judgment. There's a. I was reading a story about a city councilor in Malden over here in Massachusetts. And she decided that she was going to have there's this big bowling alley slash sports bar slash club in Malden. And they have a huge parking lot. She decides she's going to have a 21st birthday for her daughter in this parking lot with about more or less 40 to 50 people. Now, the cops ended up breaking it up. There was a DJ. People were not social distancing. People were not wearing masks. Malden has had, I believe, I think it was somewhere around 1,100 cases. I don't know what the population is, but they've had, God damn it, I can't remember, at least 50 deaths or whatever. You would think that being a city councilor, you would kind of be a little bit more aware, a little smarter than that. And her explanation was like balancing being a mother versus blah 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 bullshit stupid. Oh, if it was wrong, I'll own it. Uh, like her response was ridiculous because we're talking about a 21-year-old person. We're not talking about a little 5, 6, 7-year-old kid who's looking up at you with their little sweet face saying, Mommy, but why can't I have a birthday party with my friends? We're talking about a fucking 21-year-old fucking girl, a woman. Like, are you fucking serious? This person, that this person can't get it in her head that she can't have her big 21st birthday because of the virus? Like, not a little kid, a 21-year-old person. It's fucking bananas.
you look at how many Sweet 16s were ruined by this virus, how many kids who graduated don't get that honor of walking the stage.
Yeah.
Like,
People's weddings, people's funerals, people's fucking births of their children. And this bitch is worried about her fucking little 21st birthday. Fuck your birthday. Take your birthday and twist it sideways, the rock style, and shove it up your fucking ass. Nobody gives a fuck about your birthday. Jesus fucking Christ. It's that fucking important? Like it's worse than these assholes who act like they have a whole week for their birthday. Oh, it's my birthday week. Fuck your birthday. Nobody gives a fuck about your birthday except for you. You should grow out of that when you're fucking, I don't know, 14. Fine. You want to ride it till 18? Ride it till 18. After that, get the fuck out of there. Go in the real world and understand that nobody gives a fuck about your birthday except for you. People feel obligated. They feel obligated to take care of your birthday. They feel obligated to make you feel special, but nobody really gives a fuck. Anyways, so I guess there's more anxiety issues.
yeah, I mean, so I know one of the things I encountered this past week is, and this is one of those things for me, like, I'm not normally that person that like freaks out like, oh my god, but I was feeling a little bad, and I think it's mainly my allergies. You know, it's time of year, whatever. Weather's been warm, um, so like I just felt like ass, and immediately, you know, my mind starts clicking like, shit, do I got the Rona? Like, did I get exposed when I went to the grocery store? Like, so now like I'm panicked, so I'm taking my temperature. I'm fucking like, you know, all of a sudden every little thing is like, is this a symptom? And I'm imagining like how many people are sitting at home like feeling that same way, like looking at anything, and now you're WebMDing everything because you don't want to go to fucking some clinic and take the chance if you don't have it, you're gonna get it at the fucking clinic, you know. And then the thoughts of jamming some fucking swab up your fucking nose for no reason and wasting a test that could be used for someone
You're
who's
such a pussy.
so,
Swab up my nose.
no, I mean, but seriously, like I don't want to waste a test if there's not a genuine reason. So if I was continuously feeling bad, then yes, I would go get myself tested. I'm honestly like if they have an antibody test when they get that up and running and it's solid, I actually want to go get like tested to see if I have the antibody because I was sick in December, January. I'm
Well,
not sure.
speaking on the antibody tests, these fucking assholes in Massachusetts are now concerned that the antibody tests are showing not enough people got it. So now they're concerned that we did too well in our lockdown and social distancing and all of that stuff. And they're starting to second guess if the herding mentality maybe was the way to go. So these motherfuckers don't know what the fuck they're doing. So I can understand the anxiety. Um, you know, I mean, just as a general rule to anybody listening to this shit, if you feel symptoms, you call a fucking hospital, call a clinic, whatever's close to you, whatever you do, and they'll tell you if you need to go to a testing center. They'll take a test, they'll shove a fucking swab up your nose, tickle your brain, and then they'll let you know. Don't freak out, don't go nuts. Control your anxiety. It's going to be okay. For most people, it's going to be okay. Unless, you got some shit going on. Then God bless you. Sorry.
All right, so I'm over the Corona thing. Let's talk about something different. Enough vid for the week.
Word.
Um, one of the funny headlines this week that I thought was pretty funny was the Tekashi 6ix9ine fucking Snoop shit. I don't know if you've seen anything about that.
Yeah. Um I didn't even know there was a first thing that Snoop ignored um until he basically said it in his little video.
I mean, so here's my whole thing about the Tekashi thing. Number one, like I think his music's garbage, first of all, but that's taste, so that's neither here nor there. Um, but for him to like take shots at like an OG in the game, someone who like is pretty well respected within the rap community, and to call him a snitch when he's a snitch, a self-admitted snitch.
Wait, he called Snoop a snitch?
Yeah,
Oh, I
he
missed that.
said he said that when he went and snitched, like when he went to go snitch, that they dropped Snoop's name as part of like the in the beginning, that Snoop was an informant and a snitch, and he goes on even further to say that on Suge's paperwork that like Snoop snitched on Suge.
Uh, uh, it might be true. I mean, I, I wouldn't put it past him. If anything, Snoop snitched on the fucking the. I mean, he didn't snitch, but he kind of pointed the direction of his murder case towards his bodyguards and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's necessarily snitching, more as redirecting, but um, you know, your point is correct that who the fuck are you to be calling out dudes? Like, you're trying to make it, you're trying to excuse your sins by pointing out the sins of others. It's like when Kobe, it's
He's
like when
snitching.
Kobe,
People snitching. That's what
yeah,
he's doing.
it's like when Kobe said he should have paid the chick off like Shaq pays all his chicks off. Like, what the fuck did Shaq have to do with that? Like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, it's a bad look. And apparently he mentioned Snoop's wife recently about like Snoop's infidelities and blah blah blah. So I can only see this thing escalating. I mean, you're right. That dude is a low talent loser who had good backing, and it just goes to show you that if there's money and you get some good production, like anybody can be a star. Um, I mean, look at
But
some of the uh, seriously, like, can Katy Perry really sing? Like, let's let's be honest. So there's plenty of examples. There's a million examples of it, but to get everything that you've gotten from a group of people, I've read some of the things that he said about them, and about how there were plots to kill him and all of this garbage. You're only relevant because other people invested in you, and then you're you built yourself up by starting beefs with people, not because of your music, not because your music was tight, not because people paid attention to your bullshit. People paid attention because social media is ridiculous, and clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. The more outrageous things you say, the more people check it out. I mean, look at these losers that say stupid things like they're better than the best rappers of all time. That gets tons of publicity, that gets tons of clickbait, and it gives them notoriety, it gives them clicks, it gives them listens. So that's what they do now. They troll. These are professional trollers. That's what they are. They're not rappers, or they're not good rappers. They're professional trollers and snitches.
yeah, I mean, Duke built his credibility on the backs of people that were legit like thugs, and like use that as his credibility to make himself a, you know, you know, legit rapper. And then when it came back on him because he had portrayed this part, and when it came back on him, he dropped a dime on everyone and had a million and one excuses why he did it.
Yeah. And to go at Snoop, who actually has talent, who's actually has one of the best flows of all time in the hip hop industry, is blasphemous. It's blasphemous.
Yeah.
I mean, just go back and listen to the Chronic. Listen to Snoop's flow on the Chronic. Not even Doggy Style, not even his own album. I mean, he killed it there. But just when he was a young buck, when he was first starting, when they did the Chronic, listen to Snoop's flow. This motherfucker could really rap. And you got this little cunty rainbow asshole, this unicorn bitch, talking shit to the dog father? Get the fuck out of my face with that. Snoop is a million times more relevant. I don't give a fuck about Instagram views. I don't give a. It's longevity. And longevity says Snoop is a giant, and this little bitch ass is a fucking ant. Okay? And he will never be held in those regards. Fuck the rainbow bright. That's what I'm gonna call him. Rainbow fucking bright. Fuck that little bitch ass. If you don't know who Rainbow Bright is, Google her. That's what 6ix9ine is.
Well, it's so funny too because I saw, I think it was 50 was on Charlemagne, and he was talking about 6ix9ine, and they kind of threw a quote that 50 had said at one point, like where he was talking about how hot 6ix9ine was, and 50 was like, look, he goes, he was killing the game. He goes, I'm not gonna lie. He goes, but when I had the opportunity, like that dude didn't have my number. I couldn't fuck with him. He goes, because I knew what kind of dude he was. And he goes, and I saw him running his mouth and rah 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 this and that. And he goes, I'm not gonna co-sign that shit. And 50's not afraid of beef.
Yeah, 50's kind of an asshole too, though. I mean, it's hard to take 50 seriously because he contradicts himself, but whatever. Um, I mean, he he obviously came up in it, and he probably knew a lot more than we did until shit came out. You know,
Yeah, I mean, 50,
sure.
50 basically said like the only reason he even fucked with the dude was because that he associated himself that with people that he respected, that he knew and he could
Yeah,
come up with.
yeah, like he was connected. So whatever. I don't know how many dicks he sucked, but he did a good job. So it all leads to me feeling like I'm becoming this just old curmudgeon. And like, you know me, I listen to all types of music. My Spotify playlist is probably close to 4,000 songs at this point, like my everything playlist. And you'll go from Phil Collins to Old Dirty Bastard to fuck. It's just it's all over the place. I can't even think like Motown soul, like it's everywhere. It's everywhere because I like all music. But when I hear some of the shit that comes out these days, I'm just like, this is garbage. I'm sorry. This mumble rap, this whatever is bullshit. And I'm afraid I might becoming an old curmudgeon because I shit on a lot of stuff. Like I'm dropping deuces everywhere.
The grumpier old men, the fucking Walter Matthau.
I mean, I never saw the movie. I've heard of it, but like I don't
Mr. Wilson. You're fucking Mr. Wilson.
I try not to hate on everything. Like there's a lot of music that I do enjoy, a lot of new music that, I can get down with, but it's not just music, it's everything. Like I don't want to be the fucking guy like shaking his fist at the sky. Like fuck you clouds. Fuck you clouds. Give me my sun. Like I'm kind of worried about that. I'm only 45 too. So I don't know. The old curmudgeon thing is getting kind of real. I try to be a positive person. You won't get that from this podcast, but in real life, I try to be a positive person. Like with my kids, with everybody around me, I try to bring up positivity and try to, let's look forward to this. And that reminds me, instead of all you assholes worried about what you can't do with this virus, how about focusing on what you can do? How about like I've been watching older movies that I've been meaning to watch and just never had time to. I never really thought about it. Um so like this, and that's just an example. Like nobody's telling you can't go outside. Go outside, take a walk, do things that you enjoy that you can do. Chug fucking 20 beers. The liquor stores are open. Do things that you enjoy. Who cares? Like focus on that instead of focusing on the shit that you can't do and being, oh, what was me? What was me? You're the fucking curmudgeon, not me. Not me. You're the curmudgeon, you fuck. Fuck you. You young motherfucking little pussy who's oh, I got so much anxiety because I can't go out to my fucking local uh, fucking juice machine and get my little kale and fucking mango drink, man, do my yoga, suck my balls, grow some sack, and just embrace it and just do what you like to do. Go climb a fucking mountain, you asshole. You like to climb mountains. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. You fucking dick. Anyways,
So not to sound like a curmudgeon myself, but one of my biggest beefs right now is um fucking streaming, like streaming in DVDs. Like, so I encountered this the other day. I was like flipping through the channels, and I came across this movie that came out a couple years ago called Chef.
oh yeah,
So it
yeah,
was like
I heard of that.
John Leguizamo, whatever. So but I caught it on like the tail end. So I was like, man, I want to watch this movie. So like I go to Netflix, can't find it on Netflix. So I go to Hulu, can't find it on Hulu. So then I'm like, what fucking streaming service has this fucking movie? And like, it's like on Amazon Prime. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, well, how many fucking subscriptions do I have to have now to fucking like be able to
That
access movies?
that's what it's becoming.
It's,
That's the
but it's
future.
so like, I'm like, dude, yeah, okay, yeah, cut the cord, get rid of cable. Cool, you cut the cord, but now you're spending just as much every fucking month for the fucking subscription
Yeah,
service.
yeah, it's true. That's exactly what's happening. Unless you go bootleg. But
You get the broken fires.
we won't talk about that. We'll let others talk about that. Um, but it's a good point because I I I'll go to the grocery store or wherever and I'll see a red box and I'll always ask myself, even to this day, like who still uses that shit? And you just made a case for it because certain things, like certain streams, have certain rights to certain things, but Redbox has it all, right?
Mhm.
I haven't used my DVD player in 5 years, if I'm being honest. That's how long it's been since I used my DVD player. But I can see, based on what you're saying, why that still needs to be an option.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
so like I have, I'll play DVDs on my Xbox all the time, and I'm really big about buying movies, so I have a huge DVD collection, and part of that's not just the fucking like I'm an old guy and I refuse to like adapt, but
I think
I'm not the
I think it kind of is. I think you're
I
becoming a
like
curmudgeon.
I think to some extent I like the ability to fucking if I want to watch something on demand, I'll just go to my shelf and get it and put it in.
That's the epitome of on demand.
It's on demand. It's there. Yeah, I mean it's just frustrating as shit because I'm like, dude, like I was looking at something the other day where I was looking for the new Spider-Man movie. So the what is it, coming home or whatever,
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever. So I went to look which streaming service had it, and I'm like, all right, it's a Disney, so it's a Marvel movie. It's going to be on Disney, but Disney doesn't have the rights to it. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think Sony
So,
has it.
well, it's so for a certain period of time, it's going to be on FX. So FX has the rights to it, or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's what it's
Or
all about. It's all about the rights.
so Stars has the rights to it, and then eventually it'll go over to Disney. But Stars is a Hulu affiliate, so I'm just like,
Yeah, but they're all trying to make their money.
yeah. But it's like, all right, Hulu's $7.99 a month. Disney's, with Disney, Disney with Hulu and whatever is $20 something a month. then Netflix is another, $8, $9 a month. So when you're all said and done for all the subscription services, and I know because I only had Netflix before the quarantine. I now have fucking subscription services to like 5 different fucking on-demand streaming services.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it's only gonna get worse. I've seen more. What is it? God damn it! I just saw it the other day. There's like there's another streaming service coming out. It like it's not gonna end. But what they've started to do is they've started to, like you said, intertwine them so that if you have access to this, you get access to this and stuff like that to beat the cable companies because let's face it, I mean, in in if you really think about the amount of entertainment, what you get from the cable companies is probably worth it. But when you have other options where they're charging you way less, then it's not. And that's what these guys are capitalizing on. I mean,
Well,
whatever.
I mean, once they get like broadband, like internet service, is like everyone's able to get that without having to be courted to some cable company. They're done. Like they can't continue to like.
Oh, they'll adapt. They're already thinking about ways to adapt. I guarantee you, like Universal, I think is owned by Comcast. Like they're gonna find ways to adapt. They'll buy. I mean, look at how much, dude. Amazon's gonna run the world. Look at how much fucking content Amazon Prime is putting out. These motherfuckers are making shit left and right. You think Netflix is making stuff? Amazon Prime is making tons of shit. Those fucking assholes, they they know what the fuck they're doing. Bezos is gonna be our god at some point because we get everything from this son of a bitch. Like they're starting to produce their own shit. Like my doggy bags for his shit are made by Amazon or made by a Chinese factory, but under the Amazon name. So
Well, I mean, it's they
so,
they
so
put
start
their
start
hands in.
start get start getting used to our Lord and Savior Jeff Bezos. Thank you for everything you give us. I'm just saying, just saying. Um, but with all this streaming, like you're talking about, I do have an Amazon Prime account, and I have been watching. I had started to rewatch The Sopranos, and I think when you rewatch something, you gain another level of appreciation for certain things where the first time you just kind of just watching it and maybe you get distracted or whatever and you're not paying attention to its legacy.
I think you're
So when
more
so
involved in the plot.
well when you watch it the second time you can kind of appreciate some of the intricacies of things. So imagine an episode recently and Corrado Soprano, Uncle June, is he's like they're about to get indictments, so he goes to Florida with his chick or whatever, and she starts commenting to him about how great he is giving head, and it's like he's like, "Don't ever tell anybody about that," and she's like, "Well, why? What's the big deal?" And he's like, well, it's considered a sign of weakness. If you do that, you'll do anything, and then you end up like a faggot. Or they say it in like and I know that's a bad word to say these days. I'm just saying what they said in the episode um in Italian. Basically, he's saying like if you suck that, you'll suck anything, and you could turn into a queer. So so it's just that mentality, I think, was more than with the Italians because I was with a Jamaican girl and once in my life, and she was saying the same thing. Like the Jamaican guys would say that they don't do that, even though they did, and even though Soprano did it, they would act like they didn't do it. And I just found that funny because, like, so basically in the episode, she of course talked to her like nail salon person, and she ended up telling Tony's wife about it, and then Tony's wife ended up telling Tony about it, and it was just a funny scene because like I'm trying to remember what his comments were. He was like, he was like Uncle Junior's whistling through the wheat field, which which the first time I saw it, it was I probably laughed, but I didn't really appreciate it. He's whistling through the wheat field, and he called him the Bushman of Kalahari. Like when you rewatch this stuff, you catch stuff that maybe you didn't either either you missed or you didn't appreciate as much the first time as you watched it. And it's just funny shit, man. And that whole mentality is like wacko. Put it into perspective with today's um acceptance. Like
Like
today,
eating ass.
yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like that's a normal thing today. Can you imagine these Italians if you told them to suck on some butthole? Like, are you kidding me? I can't imagine the content that would have given. I mean, if we're being honest, just blowjobs from when I was a kid to now are so different. Like back then, it was like, uh, it wasn't like taboo, but it wasn't as accepted. Like now, it's like second nature. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Girls weren't admitting they sucked dick back in the day.
yeah, and now they're bragging about it. Like, uh, like I could take 12. Like, oh, good for you. Shit, goddamn. Like
Because I
that.
mean,
That
you think about it. Like, remember that was like when Little Kim first came out. That was the big like fucking thing that was so sensational about her was that her raunchy, just fucking open kind of sexuality.
yeah. Um, I think just the times just changed and people were more accepting about things like eating assholes and all of that stuff. but but I don't know. It's a trip. Um, if you do rewatch The Sopranos, you have to have a certain appreciation for Uncle June because he he's he's really funny. Um, with that old school mentality, just his lines are great. Um, and I'm gonna watch some other um older hits besides The Sopranos. Maybe I'll go back and I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and watch Breaking Bad again or something like that. I don't know. I already rewatched The Wire. That was cool. You can see Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan.
actually,
You can see Michael B. Jordan
I
as a
just
young fuck.
I just got into going back and looking through some old Def Comedy jams and seeing like Kevin Hart early on in his career and Cat Williams and some of those guys.
Yeah, it's always good to look at the past. Like I was watching last night. I was watching George Carlin. He's fucking awesome. Um, so I don't know how this topic came up in my brain. I think It had to be something that I saw on TV or something that somebody said on the radio or something. But it's an age-old question. It's very simple. Are you a over the fence man when you got to take a leak? And you're wearing your boxer briefs or your boxers or your tidy whities. Do you go over the fence or do you go through the woods?
Through the woods.
So you open that thing up in the middle and whip it out.
Yeah.
See, you're saying it like if it's not even a question.
Yeah, because I don't like to go over the fence because I feel like it fucking constricts my fucking flow.
See, what what do you typically wear? Are you a boxers guy? Boxer briefs? What
Boxer
is it?
briefs.
All right.
Boxer briefs.
So we're on the same page. I appreciate boxer briefs as well because they give you a little support for the boys. If you wear boxers, you're just hanging out in the wind. It's just fucking and if you don't shake it off properly, you're pissing down your leg.
Piss down the
So
leg.
yeah. So if you wear boxers at this point in life, you're a fucking savage. Just saying. But I'm a boxer briefs guy, and I go over the fence, and I'll tell you why. It's just so much quicker and easier. I don't have to fumble through trying to pull it out, like trying to find it and navigate through the fucking beans and franks and trying to like it's just boom, I pull it down, bang, it's done. Now, I will grant you that you have to kind of pay a little more attention to the extra shake or making sure that everything is drained properly before you put it back in, but it's just quicker and easier for me. I don't. I mean, maybe if you do it enough, the through the woods method, like it's just normally kind of open, so it's not that big a deal. I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I mean, I think it's situational too because if you're fucking like if you're out camping, sometimes going over the fence makes more fucking sense. But if I'm in a urinal, I unzip fucking I'm not gonna pull it over the top of the fence in the fucking urinal. Like I'm gonna I'm gonna go through the zipper hole and fucking pull it to the side and pull it out.
See, it's the same thing to me. Like even if I use my zipper, to me, it's still easier going over the fence.
Plus, plus, like I said, then you have to worry about if you got that fucking elastic band or your belt constricting against your shit. So when you go to tuck it away, then you got those extra drops that you didn't shake out, and you pissed on your fucking leg.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're wearing boxer briefs, it usually handles that. I mean, I hear you, but eh, I I'll tell you what. the, the funniest thing that you'll ever see, and I've seen this more than once with my own two eyes, is these assholes that pull their whole pants and underwear down to their knees to piss. You want to talk
I've
over the
seen this.
fence? These motherfuckers, these are like on the moon jumping over the fence. That's how far they go. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen this in public restrooms, and I'm just like, dude, that shit's acceptable when you're 5.
Yes. Yes. Little boys do that. My grandson does that. He goes to the bathroom, he whips his fucking pants and underwears down to his ankles, and he pisses. Ass in the wind. He doesn't give a fuck. He's a little boy. But you're gonna do that in a fucking stadium with like hundreds of dudes in this huge bathroom, and you're the fucking jerk off standing there with your pants at your fucking knees? pissing like a 5-year-old boy? What the fuck is wrong with you?
In front of the guy that's overzealous, so he's already got his shit over the fence, waiting to get to the urinal.
Bro,
Exposing those cheeks.
what the fuck is that? I don't know.
That brings me to a thought too. Like, while we're on the topic of bathrooms and fucking etiquette and shit like that, like, do people not understand the basic bathroom etiquette, like the code? There are certain
What, like not talk to each other while you're at the urinal?
If, for example, if there's 3 urinals, where do
Oh
you
yeah,
go?
yeah. You split it. You if there's a person on the left urinal, you don't go right next to him. You go to the right urinal.
Yeah, because, and even if you're in there by yourself, you do not piss in the center urinal. Because if you piss in the center urinal, you're a selfish fuck. You're a selfish fuck because you have basically made it to the point where that any other dude that comes in while you're pissing now has to go to the fucking stall because you're a selfish prick.
Preach, preach. That you're 100% right on that. You're an asshole if you go to the center urinal. I mean, there's no excuse for that. But even worse is the asshole who strikes up a conversation. Like, bro, I don't want to talk to you. I'm trying to take a leak here and get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck about the weather. I don't give a fuck about the flight or whatever the fuck you want to talk about. Go eat a bag of dicks, dude. This
Oh,
is not
I've
this is
definitely
not Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. This is the fucking bathroom. Fuck off.
I've been walking into a bathroom and it's just as bad as trying to talk to me while I'm pissing. Like, if I'm walking into the bathroom and I'm not seeing you hit the fucking sink and then you try to dap me.
Ah,
No, no,
uh,
I don't want your dick fingers against my hand.
ah.
Fuck out of
Talk
here.
about COVID
Like,
transmission. Jesus Christ. You
yeah.
might as well be like having a sword fight there. Jesus, what the fuck? Like,
And the worst is you always have that asshole when the bathroom's busy who's got to make light of the situation. So he's like, "Oh, the water's cold." Like, bro, we know your dick's not that long.
that's so
You feel
lame.
insecure right now.
That's so lame. I see. That's when you should be creative, and that's when you should be like, "Oh, really? Let me see it. Let me see how big that motherfucking big cock is. Show me that motherfucker." I am amazed that you have a cock that's big enough that will fucking splash into the water so that you know how cold it is. Let me see it. Come on, I'm not gay. I just want to see this fucking massive eighth wonder of the world. Show me that beautiful cock, you fucking asshole liar.
Moby. You call him Moby Dick from now on.
Yeah, just flip it on him. Just completely flip it on him, and then see what he does.
Show me that dick, Moby. Show me the dick.
I mean, I guarantee you, if it's a full bathroom, everybody will be laughing their fucking asses off. I pray that somebody says that when I'm in a full bathroom, so that I can do that. Now that I've mentioned it, I am totally gonna do that next time.
Well, and
If
my thing is,
if
dude,
it ever happens, I mean, it
dude,
probably won't, but if it
dude,
ever happens, I'm doing it.
and I know you've been to stadiums, like, and you've seen this before. Like, it is a beautiful machine if it's done right. Like, you'll have 7 urinals. You got 7 guys lined up in rows. You have everyone standing behind them, and like, if it's done right, dude goes up, takes a piss, turns right, comes out, and it fucking just flows.
It's like the army.
Like the troughs at fucking Foxborough, like the troughs. It's fucking beautiful. It's like,
Troughs,
look,
trough,
why can't
troughs,
everything?
troughs have been gone for a while, bro. You're talking about the old
No,
stadium.
but I'm saying like that mentality of like, why can't we do everything in life that uniform?
Matter of fact, the troughs. The part of the reason they got rid of the troughs is because of that asshole who would walk up and pull his fucking pants down to his ankles to take a leak. I mean, if we're being honest, not just the splashing, but you got this guy's bare ass right next to you. So I think that's part of the reason why they got rid of it. Got anything else? I think we're good.
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Glad you're feeling better. Glad you don't have the vid. I guess we'll see you next week.
All right.